Then I wish sure I have enough volume. How do you go there? Right? That okay? Just 1 minute. Hello, good afternoon. Mr. Dan, can you confirm that I'm audible?
I confirm that you're audible enough. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is ARSO Central Secretariat. My name is Philip Okungu. I work here at the ARSO Central Secretariat as Documentation and Information Manager. It is a great opportunity once more to welcome you on behalf of the ARSO Secretary General, Dr. Hemojin Sengemana, who is the host for the ARSO webinars, including the 48th ARSO webinar, to this session that we have. May I start by presenting the apologies of the Secretary General that he's not here with us as the host. He has designated me to be the host today. Dr. Nsengemana is attending the African Union Commission and the Pan-African Chambers of Commerce and Industries conference and workshop exhibitions, where we are, as you are all aware, that the industries are supposed to be the ones driving standardization agenda in most of the cases as it is happening in the rest of the world. We are at that time where we are foreseeing that happening in Africa, and there are discussions going on. So the Secretary General has given us his blessings so that we continue with the webinar today. Our co-host is South Africa through the standards, the subs, and we have our co-host, Mr. Lizo Makele, the Chief Executive Officer, IG of SABS, here with us. Our webinar theme for today, as we have already circulated and announced, is the Fourth Industrial Revolution, Opportunity for Africa's Sustainable Development. And then the topic is the Technological Revolution and what Fourth Industrial Revolution means for Africa's transformation and economic development agenda, the role of standardization, because I think standardization underpins everything about sustainable development all over the world. Our moderator of today is Mr. Zazi Sanka, Manager Standards Development from the SABS. So without taking much time, I want to welcome you all, and at the same time, thank you very much for accepting to participate in this 48th webinar session. We run it from 2:30 to 16:30. And we wish to inform you that it is being streamed live from the Association of African Universities based in Accra, Ghana. So we have the opportunity to reach out to almost all the universities in Africa, because that one is one of the mandates also that we have in creating awareness, reaching out to the youth. At this moment, I would want to call on our co-host, Mr. Lizo Makele, to make an introductory remark. Mr. Makele, please. Thank you. Hello. Hello, may I call the South Africa team, Ms. Dineo, to help us here?
I think we're just having a technical glitch. If you can just give us a minute.
Good afternoon, Philip. I hope you can hear me. Just want to check.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you very well. Thank you.
Okay. Apologies then. I'm not sure if it's time for me to talk now. I didn't hear a word when we were talking. So there were some technical glitches.
Yes, we understand. Yes, you can go on to give your introductory remarks.
Okay, no, thank you very much for that. I'll switch on the video. Give me a second. Thank you very much for the opportunity. To you, Philip, good afternoon. Dr. Nsangamane, in his absence, I grab this opportunity to welcome you all in this webinar, colleagues, which is about the most important subject, which is the technological revolution and what the fourth industrial revolution means for Africa transformation and economic development agenda and the role of standardization. So you are all welcome, colleagues, and we look forward to your contributions, especially in shaping the discussions in the work of standardization in the region. We find ourselves in a situation that requires us to adopt or to adapt rather to the reality where technology, innovation and standards come together. In South Africa in particular, as a highly industrialized economy, South Africa has a potential to harness cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence, robotics, and the Internet of Things. However, as we all know, the successful implementation of these advancements is dependent upon the establishment of robust standards that ensure, interoperability, safety, and quality. As we know, the standards will enable the progress. It is upon us in the standardization space to champion the collaboration with the government, the industry, and academia to create a framework that supports this innovation. That, of course, will contribute to ensuring the safety, for our communities. South Africa as a country, Chairperson, has obviously made some strides, in the area of industrial revolution. There's quite a lot of work that has been done so far, which then calls on us, as a standards organization in South Africa, to, of course, align our efforts, to the program of our government, so that we are leading, or we lead in the area of ensuring that the products that are being produced or manufactured, are safe for consumption, and also the safety is guaranteed, within the community. So, of course, our work, goes beyond that, because it should also enable, trade, so that even the small businesses can also be able to access markets, not only in the country, also go abroad. So, as the standards organizations, our work is cut out, is cut out for us to be able to lead in that regard. Just to mention some of the few things that our government has started doing. Our parliament launched the fourth industrial revolution campaign to identify and encourage youth who are passionate about the 4IR to join in the journey. So this initiative serves as a launch pad for the youth participation in the world of work in an effort to reduce the rising number of unemployment and spark conversations around the use of the 4IR capabilities. In our State of the Nation address by our president, he announced the introduction of the robotics at schools, a basic education level, with a plan to implement it fully, incrementally. They have even developed some curricula for coding and robotics for grades R up to grade 9. So a lot is happening already. And I'm aware also of the Fourth Industrial Revolution Roundtable, which came with numerous initiatives that were also communicated over roundtables, expos, and awareness campaigns. Some of these roundtables were held since 2018 and up to 2019. So I'm not going to go through them and mention them to you, but for me, it was just an indication that at least in this corner of the continent, that some work and quite a progressive, initiatives are being implemented, and that as a standardization body or standard body in South Africa, we're aligning ourselves, collaborating with government in ensuring that those initiatives, are a success, and then there is that interoperability, and then we guarantee, we ensure that safety is guaranteed, and also quality of our product is also realized. So with these few words, Chairperson, I would like to welcome the participants, the panel, and wish them good luck as they share the work that they would have prepared to enrich our knowledge in the area of Fourth Industrial Revolution. Thank you very much, and back to you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much once more for the initial remarks. Just wanted to draw your attention about who Mr. Dizo Makele is. Already we have displayed this slide. He is the current acting Chief Executive Officer of the SAPS. His professional background includes over 20 years management and leadership experience in corporate world. Key sectors worth mentioning include manufacturing, finance, automotive, packaging, and pharmaceuticals. And these ones are also some of the key trade sectors for the FCFTA, and also which also has a lot of interest for Africa in terms of priority sectors for Africa's industrialization. In his career, he has been key contributor and player in supporting business on their turnaround efforts, growth, mergers and acquisitions, and the culture. As a people development champion, he has championed impactful development initiatives in various entities, which include youth development programs, technical skills development right through leadership empowerment and development programs. He has over the years accumulated critical business management skills that have made him navigate the complexities of business leadership successfully. These include business acumen, negotiations, influencing diplomacy, and political mastery. So to our co-host for today, we want to say thank you so much for giving us these initial remarks about the webinar. And we want to take this opportunity, therefore, to introduce our panelist of today. As you can see here, we have a gender balance, sort of, though men are many. We have the Secretary General as the host. We have the co-host, as you have seen and heard. Then we have the moderator, Zazi Zamka. Then we have panelists here, Ms. Nadine Mutoni, who is Monitoring and Evaluation Officer at the ARSO Central Secretariat, and the sub-theme therein. We will see this as we progress. We have Lindwen Kuna, from South Africa, also entrepreneur and industrialist, South Africa. Then we have Dr. Benson Moyo, lecturer, Department of Mathematical and Computational Sciences, University of Venda, South Africa. Then Engineer Isaac Adekanye, the IEE Africa Council Chair. And then finally, we are blessed to have Alain Daishimie, Head of Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning Projects, Center for AI Policy and Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen and distinguished delegates, we have been blessed to have these gentlemen and ladies to be our panelists for today on the fourth ARSO session for the webinar. Generally, I just wanted to highlight what has been happening in Africa, because talking about the fourth industrialization, we also go back to the industrialization agenda in Africa and how it has been. To date, we have noticed about 3 sessions. The first session as highlighted, second and third. The first industrial development decade for Africa being 1980 and 1990. With a focus on food processing, textile industry, forestry, building materials. So it focused on the translation of the goals of the Lagos Plan of Action, because always Africa has been having blueprints throughout, because even at the moment we have Agenda 2063 and the FCFTA. So we have been having these blueprints that guide us in terms of industrialization and industrial revolution and what we can use for each session to develop the continent. Good thing about that, all these blueprints have also been very keen on standardization, and the Lagos Plan and the first development decade for Africa highlighted ARSO itself, the membership, the establishment of Africa regional standards for all products, that is harmonizing standards, and also a regional certification marking scheme in terms of conformity assessment issues. The second decade, also 93, 2002, and also focusing on industrialization, rehabilitation of existing industries, and highlighting the key sectors, leather and leather products, textile, metallurgy, engineering, construction, agro and food productions, which has remained a constant in all this, and the promotion of small and medium-scale industries. To date, we talk about the SMEs as the engines of development everywhere in the world, and with a more focus even in Africa, with the African Union always facilitating their competitiveness and capacity building. So with this also on standardization, we note that Africa must adopt a common policy on standardization. And with this, we have, it has materialized in the development and establishment of African quality policy, African continental technical regulatory framework. And we also have the member states to undertake such other related activities in standardization, measurement systems, promoting trade, economic development. And here comes capacity building, training, awareness, transparency, where we have the ARSO DISNet. On the third industrial development decade for Africa, we are all aware that this one was also initiated and recognized by the United Nations itself, declaring that decade for Africa industrialization and development, IDA or IDA 3, 2016 to 2025, as the continent's transformation journey towards shaping a sustainable social, political, and economic transformation process anchored on a broad-based and inclusive industrialization trajectory. And comes here comes also the Agenda 2063, the SDGs 2030, and the FCFT goals. The architect of the joint roadmap for IDA 3 implementation developed by UNIDO, because UNIDO was given the responsibility. And this is where also we saw UNIDO taking steps backward, analyzing what happened in the first IDA, the second IDA, and then now going forward, developing a roadmap. And in this roadmap, the critical, the 4 issues were highlighted, that is ensuring government ownership and leadership as success will depend on clear vision, commitment, and resolve on the part of African government. Then strengthening and enabling business environment. And in this case, I want to highlight that UNIDO distinguished quality infrastructure as one of the pillars, and the issues of technologies, finances were highlighted. This is where we have the fourth industrial revolution and the market institutions. And here standardization runs markets. Then prioritizing sectors that have high potential growth and which can meaningfully contribute to the alleviation of poverty, and building strong partnerships. So both from IDA 1, IDA 2, IDA 3, standardization has been a constant pillar. And that is why even in our today's webinar session, we look at the fourth industrialization and then the role of standardization. The fourth industrial revolution, as stated, we had the first industrial revolutions, steam-based machines, then second, electrical energy-based. Then we had the third on computer, the computer and internet-based. And finally, fourth industrial revolution, the second information revolution, the early 21st century, artificial intelligence, and the issue of information and the big data, including, among others, the issues of artificial intelligence, cloud computing, robotics, 3D printing, which has become hard in the manufacturing sector, then the Internet of Things, blockchain, and advanced wireless technologies. So these are the opportunities that we talk under the fourth industrial revolution and the IDA 3, and how Africa can really benefit apart from the rest of the world in utilizing the opportunities presented by the fourth industrial revolution so that we attain our industrialization and the transformation agenda. And you already see experts analyzing and saying the fourth industrial revolution is expected to transform Africa into a global powerhouse if opportunities or policies are developed. So we can see the examples of how it has been used, and especially in Kenya, you see the M-Pesa, which has really helped. We have seen in West Africa, blockchain has enabled efficient verification of property records and transactions. What is happening in Ghana in the agri-based companies, what is happening in Nigeria, the Zenverse, and then we have the Spakidara in Uganda. So the fourth industrialization is the current and developing environment in which disruptive technologies and trends such as the Internet of Things, robotics, virtual reality are changing the way modern people live and work. So how can we use the opportunities and the systems, the components of the fourth industrialization to make sure that we develop our systems and industrialize as Africa? So we also had a lesson from the COVID-19 pandemics, and I think even the webinar sessions that ARSO started that we are running to date since 2020, we got these positive lessons from the COVID-19 that gave us the opportunity to exploit the opportunities within the fourth industrial revolution and its components, so that we can always reach out, we can always have workshops, we can always have meetings, we can always have interactive sessions in different topics that we have done to date, now that we are at 48th session of it. So to deal with this, there are also risks associated with the fourth industrial revolution. We will realize that when we come to the panel session or the plenary session. But we are saying to deal with this risk, lawmakers, enforcement bodies, providers, and civil society actors must work together to address common issues, as the fourth industrial revolution provides organization with opportunities for not only optimizing and enhancing internal operations, but also to innovate and optimize business models. The FCFTA is not has not left any chance about the fourth industrial revolution. And you see, these are the advantages, the expectations under the FCFTA. But unless we also take the opportunity of the fourth industrial revolutions to achieve what the FCFTA is expected to be achieving. Currently, the FCFTA having been ratified by 48 members, and it is being tried within some of 9 member states that we have, but it is expected that 31 members will be joining the pilot phase in 2024. And in this case also, the fourth industrial revolution components must be playing greater role. So the expectations have already been listed under Article 17, the FCFTA, on the use of information technology that directs each party, state party, to the extent participable, use the most modern information and communication technology to expedite procedures for the release of goods, including those on transit. That is, taking advantage of fourth industrial revolution on matters trade. Then in the fulfillment of the obligations referred, paragraph 1 of the article, each state party shall endeavor to make available by electronic means, allow documentation for import-export electronically, establish an electronic system for data exchange, then collaborate with other state parties for the implementation of mutually compatible electronic systems. So we are looking at already the guidelines that have been given by the FCFTA to ensure that we take advantage. Already there are initiatives, and also we talked about standardization component in all of these, IDA 1, 2, and 3. And ARSO has also taken advantage of the opportunities in standardization. And as you can see, we have already established the African Fourth Industrial Revolution Standardization Strategy to ensure that the Fourth Industrial Revolution, also the standardization component, is not left behind. And it was launched in the year 2021 at the African Union level. And you can see the Commissioner for Economic Development, Trade, Industry, and the then ARSO President, Dr. Yves Zikwa. Then we expect that it will provide direction on standardization for the well-being of Africa's global economy, bridge the gap between the physical and digital world through collaboration of standardization experts, technology communities, stakeholders, and regulatory agencies in a certain industry. So we want a situation where we make the components of fourth industrialization be standardized to the level where they can also benefit the African continent. Then we have other initiatives as highlight the African E-Trade Group. We were lucky to have their presentations in one of our webinar sessions, and we are looking forward to always making partnerships with this, the initiatives that we have already have. Then the African Gateway Initiative that also makes use of the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System, the Trade Information Portal, the African Customer Due Diligence Repository. These are some of the key initiatives that already is happening in South Africa to make sure that we have the fourth industrial revolution work for Africa. We have the IEE, and we are already collaborating with the IEE. We will be having one of the chairman for Africa also as panelist for today to give us more information in this case. And you will see one of our member states, like already the CEO for SABS has already indicated what is happening in South Africa, and where to the cabinet level there has been policies that are being put in place. Rwanda itself has also started the Fourth Industrial Revolution Center, and which also having a vision to help shape the development and application of emerging technologies for the benefit of humanity, and to ensuring that Rwanda also, as part of the continent, gains from the opportunities under the Fourth Industrial Revolution, because he said that unless we have policies that are customized to our needs, then we will not be able to benefit so much from. So the countries at national level are coming up with strategies, including the Rwanda. We are happy to announce that the center, in collaboration with the World Economic Forum, will host inaugural Global Artificial Intelligence Summit on Africa under the theme Artificial Intelligence and Africa's Demographic Dividend, reimaging economic opportunities for Africa workforce. And I think that one is purely talking about the fourth industrial revolution. We have benchmarks, we have lessons to learn from the regional partners. We have lessons to learn from the United Arab Emirates and questions to answer. Is Africa ready? Is Africa working towards making fourth industrial revolution work for Africa? At the United Arab Emirates, they already, as a government and as a region, set the fourth industrial revolution strategy, which wants to ensure that they maximize the opportunities under the fourth industrial revolution. As you can see, they are working towards doing innovative education that will provide smart and enhanced learning experience, the adoption of intelligent and personal genomic medicine, and the adoption of robotic healthcare. So when we develop that strategy, when we benchmark, when we learn, as we will also hear from our panelists, then we get opportunity to move on taking care of standardization. We just highlight today, the theme is just to give us a platform, ensure that we discuss the fourth industrial revolution in Africa and what we need to improve on. The specific objectives are also highlighted, better understanding of Africa's industrial transformation agenda under those IDA 1, IDA 2, IDA 3, facilitate better understanding of fourth industrial revolution for Africa, facilitate better understanding of the potentials of e-commerce and all others, and mostly also to motivate governments and policymakers, NSBs and the private sector to promote effective regulations initiatives for the optimum benefit. And that's why we have highlighted the initiatives that we have taken, including also at ARSO level, and also benchmarking with what is happening in the United Arab Emirates, so that the policymakers and governments can come up with policies. And this about South Subs, and this about our Secretary General, already you know him. This is about our co-host, we already mentioned. And then now, our time has come that we are going to hand over to our able moderator, Zazi Zanga. As you can see, Zazi Zanga is currently the Manager Standards Development, Electronical ICT Systems and Services at SABS. Zazi has more than 24 years experience, including management and senior management levels within the South African Bureau of Standards. He has a wealth of experience in standardization, stakeholder management, strategy, communication, and interpersonal skills. Zangi has taken various roles within the National Standards Body, including that of International Relations Specialist, expert on the ISO IC Joint Strategy Advisory Group, also on gender responsive standards, ISO Secretariat of ISO TC 135 CS2, head of delegation at ISO committees. Then currently he manages department responsible for standards development in electrotechnical ICT systems and service sectors. He holds a national diploma in metallurgy engineering, then BTech, then Business Administration and Master of Business Administration. Some of the highlights of Mr. Zangi's career are being seconded to the American Society of Testing Materials, ASTM International, then part of ISO General Assembly Local Organizing Committee, a member of the working group that developed SAB's 5-year standardization strategy, 2011, then chair of South African Qualification Certification Committee, then most notably being a member of the committee that drafted the Standards Act of 2008, Act 8 of 2008. That one is at regulatory and government level that directs also the national quality infrastructure at this in South Africa. Then is a South African expert representing South Africa at ISO IC Joint Strategic Advisory Group. Then Zazi's personal programs aimed at ensuring women development and participation in standardization. Zazi has extensive knowledge on standards development, chairing national and regional committees in the standardization arena, standards and processes, quality assurance, and ISO processes or procedures, and all the rest, as you can see highlighted here. Then Zangi holds Master of Business, as I've already indicated, with specific universities now highlighted. So we are blessed to have Zazi, and we are blessed to have South Africa as the co-host. So from now on, we are going to invite Mr. Zazi to take on the plenary session and introduce and run the session until we reach the answer and the questions and answer session. Thank you very much, our dear participants, delegates, and welcome once more to the 40th ARSO webinar session, the plenary session. Thank you very much. So over to the mic back to Mr. Zazi. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everybody. You are most welcome. And good afternoon in the absentia, Dr. Hermogen and Sengimana. A special thank and welcome to our CEO, Mr. Lizo Makele. I extend the special greeting to all our speakers that will be sharing their knowledge and experience. And also a special welcome to our audience who are part of this webinar. To all the participants, you are most welcome, and we are encouraging you that you use the chat box. From time to time, we will check the chat box. Ladies and gentlemen, you are most welcome. Have a good afternoon. Philip has shared the objective of the webinar, which I think we'll learn a lot on that. The panelists will make a presentation on topics such as the benefits for the private sector and SMMEs through standardization, strategies for the utilization of the digital opportunities under the 4IR, the role of state or government in ensuring a less technological divide among citizens, including the disadvantages and jobless threats, harnessing the potential of the 4IR for Africa's industrial revolutions, understanding the 4IR and digitalization and e-commerce opportunities for Africa under AfCFTA. The fourth industrial revolution, the digital platform, become more and more the center of the value chain across all sectors of yes. For example, even in the sector in South Africa, retail across the country with the use of electronic commerce, where technology governs the retail space in terms of e-shopping, etc. Even though the 4IR is gathering pace, there are also benefits around it, and also challenges where the promise of an overall increase in productivity is viewed as a major benefit. I came across a study that was done in October 2022 by a gentleman named Rachel Alexander. For those that are interested to know the name of the paper, is called Industrial Development Working Paper Series. It talks about key opportunities and challenges for IR, specifically in South Africa. The paper was supported by the South African Researchers Initiative under the Department of Science and Technology, funded by NRF, which is the National Research Foundation of South Africa. I just want to mention just a few, the paper is long, but I just mentioned just a few barriers and challenges that the writer mentioned. One of the key barriers and challenges is a lack of sufficient infrastructure, which could create barriers for businesses to develop and expand for IR systems. We go further to say some businesses do not want to automate and incorporate 4IR because it will result in job losses within their businesses. I think this cuts across whether in Africa or in Europe, because now you'll be developing the robotics, which will replace the human, and that results in job losses. And why it goes to further say, many firms have traditional business models which they need to be upgraded, which will make it difficult for the 4IR. Also, you mentioned the issue of low levels of innovation experience in some firms. He mentioned say that many firms experience difficulty getting finance, more especially the smaller firms and SMMEs. And he says, however, even though there are barriers and challenges, this also results to a number of opportunities. He mentioned them, but I just want to mention a few. A lack of existing infrastructure creates opportunities to develop 4IR infrastructure. Building stronger local networks, that's an opportunity for IR, and building stronger connection across the global value chains. He says, furthermore, a series of additional opportunities and emerging trends can be seen. For example, existing of global technologies that are available within countries to import, whether Southern Africa or EAC, ECOWAS. He says, incorporating large numbers of people who are currently not working, that can also provide diversity of experience. Funding system can be better coordinated in 4IR, and smart cities, that means developing of infrastructure, can also be realized when we use the 4IR. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our first speaker. Just before I do that, there's a change of the program. The Miss Lindy Wenkuna, who was supposed to do sub-theme 2, will be the last speaker, but the rest of the speakers will continue as planned. All the speakers at the end of the session will have a 1-minute takeaway for each panelist to share their takeaway of the webinar, and also highlight areas of improvement where it's possible. Our first speaker is Mrs. Nadine Mutoni, who is the ARSO Monitoring and Evaluation Officer, responsible for the coordination of ARSO project, as well as PACI Joint Committee, which is hosted by ARSO. She holds a degree, bachelor's degree in East Africa Quality Championship, qualified by ITC. As an expert in managing donor projects, trained by the Maastricht School of Management, she joined ARSO in 2016 to coordinate ARSO standardization, harmonization, and conformity assessment project. She since then took more responsibility of coordinating standards implementation, methodology, and conformity assessment activities within the Secretariat of PACI. She has contributed to drafting numerous ARSO content standardization and conformity assessment policy documents, which in turn guides the implementation of ARSO mandate and resource mobilization in this regard. She has contributed significantly to the achievement of PACI objectives, such as the periodic reviews of the status of quality infrastructure, technical barriers to trade and sanitary, etc. Previously, Mrs. Umutoni worked at the Ministry of Local Government in Rwanda as a community mobilization expert, where she contributed on the policy development in Rwanda. Welcome, Ms. Umutoni. We were all yours. Thank you. Would you prefer to control your slides, or the Secretariat must control the slides for you, ma'am?
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I would like to share my slides from my side.
Thank you.
I'm sharing the slides. Sorry.
Yes, we can see the slide.
Okay. Yeah, as you have said, but first of all, good afternoon and good morning, everyone. This will depend on the location you are in now. So I'm going to share my presentation, which I prepared on the harnessing the potential of the fourth industrial revolution for the sustainable development for Africa and optimizing the benefits for the private sector and SMEs through standardization, the ARSO initiative through the African Fourth Industrial Revolution standardization strategy. Um, okay, sorry, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, we do, but would you mind to make the full slide show
Okay,
with
let
not
me
showing the
see.
next slide?
Okay, sorry. Mhm. See. Sorry, let me rectify this.
Okay.
Um, okay. Okay. Let's see.
Getting there. Perfect.
Anything? Okay.
Perfect.
So thank you very much, and so sorry for the interruption. So I just wanted to highlight what is ARSO and how ARSO was established and when, just to have an idea of who we are. Before I go into the core topic of the group. So ARSO was established on the 17th of January, that was in 1977, by the African Union, but at that time it was the Organization of African Unity, and together with the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. The inaugural workshop was held in Ghana, Accra, Ghana, and at that time we had 21 founding members. And now, currently, ARSO has grown. We have been a big organization made of 43 member states. And the member states are represented by the national standard bodies. And here we have also expert members of our member states and even our other African Union members who have not yet joined ARSO. And these are the 43 member states include one observer member, which is not yet an African Union member. This is Zanzibar. And we still have 13 non-members, and we are still engaging them so that they can also become African Organization for Standardization members, as it was directed by the African heads of states in their meeting in 2014, that every member of the African Union should become ARSO member. That was by 2017. So it is a continuous engagement so that we can get the whole Africa to become ARSO member. The ARSO has partners, stakeholders, and now this is just a pictorial message on the stakeholders. So we have four types of ARSO stakeholders. We have the Pan-African policy organizations. Yes, we were founded by the African Union. So in this moment, our Pan-African policy organization that we collaborate with are the AUC, AFCFT Secretariat, and even the Region Economic Commission communities. And these have various role to play in the work of ARSO, mainly to support our policies and also to provide or to advocate for the sustainability of ARSO. So we also have other stakeholders that are classified under African national standard bodies. These are our members, and they are the ones who always provide expertise to the harmonization of standards. They provide experts in specific sectors to arrive to the published standards. We have also the international and African quality infrastructure organizations. They are our partners in every single work that ARSO does. These include the PAC institutions. We have the AFRIMETS on metrology. We have AFRAC on accreditation. We have AFSEC on electrotechnical standardization. We also have international standard development organizations such as ISO, IEC, STM, GSO, and also others. In this category, we also have our development partners. We have other than standard development organizations, we have the UN agencies, we have African banks, we also have others that support our standardization and conformity assessment activities. And the other crucial part of our stakeholders is the standard developers and the standard users. The standard developers are the expert in various issues, and these include academia, it includes industry, and also it includes the consumers, the consumer organizations. Now going into the fourth industrial revolution, I cannot just talk about it, but what I have put here is to see how the world has been growing in terms of industrial revolution, straight from the first industrial revolution, where we experienced the new ways of organizing the work with machines, and where the world was focusing on empowering the industry for specifically agriculture and innovating in railroads. We had also the second industrial revolution, where the world witnessed expansion in electricity and petroleum products, and also steel products. The third now, which is closer to the fourth, brought in the use of electronics and computers and automation of and the digitization of systems. So now, as we have started the fourth, the world is far in implementing it, the fourth industrial revolution, where it brings both the digital and physical worlds, and also a fusion of advances in artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, and all these other technologies. Now, what are the gaps, especially for Africa? The challenges are numerous, but we can just say what we know, the critical ones, which basically we experience some gaps in technical skills. If Africa is to be compared with the rest of the developed countries, you will see that at the manufacturing level, the employees generally, that is what is observed, that there is lack of technical skills. There is also another issue of data sensitivity, where manufacturers or companies or enterprises fear to share their data with the third-party system developers in order to create the systems that can use the manufacturing capability ahead. And we also have an issue of interoperability. In the manufacturing industry, the systems, the operations are interconnected. So in some enterprises fear to innovate so that they may lose, they fear to lose some data or some track in engaging them in another way of operating. So it sometimes hinder the company to innovate and to prosper in terms of embracing the change in technology. So there is also another issue of security at the operation level, and also the issue of handling data growth when we use artificial intelligence, robotics, automation in manufacturing. It means that data comes faster, faster, and it is generated at a good pace. So managing this data may be a challenge for industries in Africa. We also have, apart from the challenges, we can also look at the opportunity that we have in using Industry 4.0. There are numerous opportunities for the SMEs, especially in Africa. There is, first of all, enhanced productivity when we optimize, the systems are optimized and automated. We have real-time data that are generated, and this lead to real-time supply chain, meaning the time lost in doing manual recording, manual orders is now eliminated. And again, we have a greater business continuity due to the advanced maintenance and monitoring possibilities. Yeah, we have also quality improvement and high quality products when we use the systems for Internet of Things, and also automation through the collaborative robots. We again experience sustainability, and also good working conditions. You may imagine where employees are used to manual operation, how their life is at the end of the day, but now using automated systems, it is better for the employees, and also they become more productive. There is also another opportunity for the consumers. We can, in this case, highlight what the moderator just said on e-purchasing and e-commerce. The consumer gains a lot from this in terms of time, in terms of money, and also and accuracy of the product that the consumer needs. Now, when it comes to ARSO, what did ARSO do in this regard? ARSO with IEEE joint effort in establishing the Fourth Industrial Revolution standardization strategy. But before this, we conducted a landscape study, which was to give us some gaps, to see where the gaps are in the continent and what could be the solutions. What generally the landscape study showed us is that we, in general, in Africa, there's no evidence of clear policy on the fourth industrial revolution. So it is one of the findings, and also we had in this study that there is minimal political willingness to advance these matters: blockchain, artificial intelligence, Generation 5, drone technology, and others. Sometimes because there is fear of not having the necessary capacity of moving into this technology. And also we have another finding where South Africa, Rwanda, and Ghana have taken some step ahead in this, where we have some centers established in this country. We have in the landscape study some proposed projects by the respondent. Some expressed interest in conducting research on the new Internet of Things developments, energy efficiency in smart homes, and emergency response system for smart cities. After the landscape study with IEEE, we have then engaged ourselves in developing the fourth industrial revolution standardization strategy. And we requested some stakeholders in the continent to come together and give their ideas on what could be this strategy and how it can look like. Okay, this strategy was developed and it was published in 2021 for 5 years. And it had some objectives, 5 objectives. The first was to establish a roadmap for AR standards in Africa, and also to establish a regulatory environment. And the second was to build skills of the member states, especially the users of the standards, which are the SMEs and other enterprises. The third objective was to create partnerships between public and private sectors, and national standard bodies, regulatory bodies, and also to establish liaison with international standard organization in order to be able to adopt the correct standards that will link our enterprises to the rest of the world. The fourth objective was to establish a steering committee or a steering group, which we be mobilizing resources and to support the standardization activity. And the other one was to develop necessary researchers and publish them, and also do the needs assessment according to every subsector of the fourth industrial revolution. Now we after this, I have to mention that the strategy itself has been giving the strategy for implementation, and has given like the right way to go in Africa, where member states were urged to establish balanced standardization policies and collaboration between them, between their, of course, state and non-state actors, to also give balanced, put in place data policies, and also do the experimentation for cyber physical systems, and again, integration of measurement, learning, and reporting. These are the organizations that took part in the development of the strategy. There is Smart Africa. We have the CSR, which hosts the South African Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. We have the Standard Association of Zimbabwe, ARSO, IEEE, ASEC, in African we have the AUDANEPAD, AITRADE, DECOT, and the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution in Rwanda. These have come up with this document and committed to promote its implementation. We have now had some cooperation after this document. ARSO has engaged the member state to establish a special working group on the fourth industrial revolution. So far, we have 8 countries that are members, and the job description, if I can call it so, of this special working group was to identify standards that are needed in the continent, and also propose their adoption, or if they don't exist at all, develop their content. We have also worked with DECUT. This is the Dedan Kimathi University of Technology, on a project called Leveraging Metaverse Digital Tools and Fourth Industrial Revolution Technologies to enhance activate skills development and innovation as post-COVID resilience strategies. So it's a project which is supported by CIFA and NEPAD. And we have 4 institutions that are implementing this project. And these are Activator in Kenya, Festo, ARSO, and DECUT. These are just to mention a few. We have tried to reach out to different organizations so that we can see how we implement this strategy. And so we will be generating good initiatives, and we'll be engaging our member states to reach to something that will help the continent to grow. So I can submit. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much for such an insight and rich presentation. Philip, there's a question on the chat about the availability of the presentation after the meeting. Please address that. There's also a question to you, Mrs. Mutoni, about it. Let me read it as it is. Hello, everyone. Ms. Nadine, please correct the map of Morocco in your presentation. Thank you. Do you want to come in, Philip?
Thank you very much. We want to assure the delegates, as usual, that we will be sharing the presentations. Already we have them.
Thank you. Ms. Mutoni, did you get that one for correction of Morocco in your map?
Thank you very much, moderator, and I thank the participant who has advised us to correct the map. This is understood, and the maps that ARSO use are the maps that are provided by the African Union, and these maps show all the African Union members. So as a body under the African Union leadership, we cannot produce any other map. But what we can do and agree is to maybe avoid showing the maps, maybe highlight the numbers of member states. And in this case, we will not harm anyone. So we will be, in sharing this information, we will highlight the members without any highlight of the map. It's something that we can do. But the map, I cannot change the map as it is, because this is the agreed map by the African Union.
Okay. Thank you. I think your suggestion of not showing the map or mentioning the names, maybe it might also help. And I also encourage the delegate to contact the secretariat directly, maybe for assistance on the map. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay. Our next speaker is Dr. Benson Moyo. Can I request the secretariat to flight his bio or profile? Thank you. He will, Dr. Benson will be talking under sub-theme 3, which is assuring inclusive and sustainable development under the 4IR in Africa, dealing more on the role of state or government in ensuring a less technological divide among citizens, including the disadvantages and job loss threats in terms of policies and perspective. Dr. Moyo is a lecturer in the Department of Mathematics, Mathematical and Computation Sciences at the University of Venda, where he's been serving the university since 2010. Before joining the University of Venda, Dr. Moyo was a lecturer at NAST from 2002 to 2009. During he served as the head of Department of Computer Science from 2006 and to 2009. His research interests includes the AI, which is artificial intelligence systems development, the ethics around the artificial intelligence, and responsible computing. Dr. Moyo holds a PhD in computer science from Northwest University in South Africa, master's in computer science from National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe, and a BSc in computer science and mathematics from Joseph Varona University in Cuba. Dr. Moyo, we're all in your hands. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me share my slides.
Thank you, sir. For those ones that just joined in now, I see that there's a question about sharing of a presentation after the meeting. Yes, the presentation will be shared. The presentations will be shared by the Secretariat after this webinar. Thank you. Dr. Moyo.
I'm not very sure whether I have successfully shared. Have I successfully shared?
Yeah, we good. You're good.
Yes, we confirm.
Thank you very much. My work is to work on sub-theme number 3, which is assuring inclusive and sustainable development under the 4IR in Africa. The role of the state governments in ensuring a less technological divide among the citizens, including the disadvantaged and lost job threats. I just came up with perhaps the title of the talk as inclusive and sustainable development under the 4IR in Africa, focusing on South Africa. That is South Africa's role in bridging the technological divide and addressing job loss threats. The previous speakers have alluded to quite a number of interesting things, like what is 4IR, what are the opportunities which are there, which is very, very interesting. I will start by saying that the 4IR, this era, is the only one that has been subjected to sustainability and inclusivity, because governments have realized that the previous 3 industrial revolutions have caused a lot of harm. You will agree with me that the previous revolutions have led us into what most governments are running and troubling every aspects of human life with respect to environment and inequalities within societies. So in this 4IR, I am happy to say that governments and states are waking up and saying we need to follow what we call just transition. The era should not have a ripple effect, that is negative ripple effect on the livelihoods of people. So in my talk, I will look at the 4IR in terms of the opportunities, the challenges, and the threats it poses to citizens within the South African context. So for opportunities, some they will say that it's a disadvantage to be exposed to this era, which is 4IR, because of the fear of job losses, for example. But in terms of opportunities, we are saying that economic diversification and growth is possible. There are new sectors that are coming up. For example, if we look at AI, who is going to develop it? Who is going to do the data collection? Robotics, who is going to come up with that? All these are opportunities, new industries that are coming up, which are beyond the traditional industries which we are used to. So what is the other advantage we are having, or opportunities we are having, is the lower barrier to entry into formal business. This comes in the form of how the technologies can simplify or automate certain bureaucratic processes to allow easy entry into the formal economy. So that's the point. Then democratization of certain services. We have education. Education is no longer found in schools. Online platforms can offer quality education with less costs. Quality care, that is quality health care, where you can rely on telemedicine, medical diagnostics, and in some cases, 4IR technologies have shown that they can obtain clearer diagnostics than the most qualified medical practitioner. In the other space, the financial sector, financial technologies, mobile banking, internet banking, blockchain, all that. For example, in South Africa, I can give an example of a digital-only banking service. I'm not, perhaps I might not name the bank because it will sound like I'm now advertising. But there is a bank which charges zero charges for transactions, for savings, which opens up the banking facilities to the disadvantaged and the underserved communities. The other point is on the global markets. It's easy for small businesses and new entrepreneurs to compete globally without having to have serious initial capital for their business to go globally. So that's the the ideas. There are so many opportunities within the South African space, but now looking at these opportunities, we also have what I think SAZ's report on the research he came across was spot on. Really, that research is very interesting. What I can say is that 4IR is a disruptive technology. It has to be accepted as that. How it differs from the previous technologies is that we are used to operating machines. You operate a machine or a tool, use a tool. But the current state, we are not going to operate a machine. We are going to work together with the machine, side by side. And as human beings, in most cases, we have been taught to feel superior. So if a machine is working with me, I feel uncomfortable. Then there is fear of being overtaken by the machine in terms of performing the tasks. So this is what I view as the challenges of technological divide among the citizens, which come in different shapes and colors. Within the South African context, we can talk of inequalities, disparities, a lot of other things, which affects the rollout of the fourth industrial revolution. So let's go on some of the ones that can be easily highlighted. The limitation to digital infrastructure. There is a limited access to digital infrastructure. Then there is a gap in terms of digital literacy. For example, in South Africa, we have a taxman called South African Reserve, South Africa Revenue Services, SARS. They rolled out a system referred to as e-filing. And people are still going to the branches to queue. How many hours are lost of productive work for people who are queuing for things they could just on 2-3 clicks, they have solved? I'm trying to illustrate the challenge of digital literacy within the South African context with respect to 4IR. Then the cost of access. Right, data is not cheap in South Africa. Devices are not cheap in South Africa. Internet access is not cheap in South Africa. And the other challenge comes to the education system. I think it was highlighted by the co-host that there is introduction of robotics and coding at high school. Yes, but the integration which gives the right skills to be developed is still not up to what the government wants. Everything is in place, but still it needs to be aligned appropriately so that we can benefit from the plans. Then the other part relates to the security of the citizens. That is cybersecurity. The moment we get on the cyberspace, how secure are we if we are not literate enough to defend ourselves? So those are some of the challenges which are, in fact, this is part of the challenges which are indicated as technological divide among the citizens. Right. As workers, we are afraid of losing our jobs. Fourth industrial revolution challenges and job loss threats. Yes, the threats are real. Automation of job and displacement. If you look at, let's say, manufacturing, a robot can substitute quite a number of people. If industrialists are thinking of people are taking leave, people are absent, a robot will never be absent. Productivity will be high. Why should I keep a human being? So with that comes also the level of skill. If we are saying a robot is replacing, I am the person who should be in charge of developing that particular robot. So this moves us back to the skills and literacy within the 4IR space. So there cannot never be a just transition if we just let, for example, the government lets people lose their jobs because they are not able to adjust to the new environment. Then widening of digital divide, right? The rolling of 4IR technologies can lead to that. It can worsen the case. 4IR is not here to improve. It is the people, the government, all stakeholders who can make it beneficial. So there is need for us to look at both sides of the coin. That is, we look at the skills gap. Low-skilled individuals who can be substituted easily. For example, we have in the service industry, most of service industry like retail shops are manned by women. One of the most vulnerable in our country. So when we look at women, how should they be defended? Because if the service industry is affected, because those low-skill jobs like being working at a retail shop, do we need a tailor there? Sometimes we might find ourselves not needing a tailor. So those are some of the threats which are there. Then economic polarization, we are looking at the skills which might be even associated with the legacy of apartheid in South Africa. To say there are certain sectors of people who are well schooled, perhaps for lack of word. They will be able to, they are exposed to the technologies. They have the funding to get the equipment, the devices. So those, they become the tech savvies. And when they are tech savvies, they will be the ones who will be enjoying the benefits of 4IR, when others who are disadvantaged will continue being disadvantaged. So those are some of the job threats which I think are important within the South African context. Right. What is it that the government is doing to bridge the divide? Like South Africa has leadership, which is very strong when it comes to 4IR. The PC 4IR is the Presidential Commission for Fourth Industrial Revolution, which was chaired by the president himself, was the chairman for this commission, which set out the strategy to move forward. And that is, no South African should be left behind. Everyone should be taken aboard. So what do? They decided to come up with the National Digital and Future Skills Strategy. And this involves the assistance that is starting from grade R. I don't know, some they say grade 0 in other parts of the world, up to grade 12. There will be skills development in digital literacy. Then from there, institutions like universities, sector education training institutions, all they will work on intermediate skills and then move on to advanced skills. So they are areas which are being targeted. There is basic literacy in digital. Here I'm not talking of literacy in reading, it's digital skills. So that means in terms of strategizing how we can transition into the 4IR, South Africa has both the legal and the policy framework to attend to issues. For example, the introduction of the coding robotics curriculum, which was alluded earlier on, is to start at a lower level. Then comes the incubation hubs, technology hubs, incubators that will also be funded by the state, and not only the state, work in collaboration with stakeholders like the private sector to provide mentorship to provide the necessary funding, to also provide the linkages to markets. That's the strategy in which the South African government has been working so hard to come up with to secure the nation. There is National Cybersecurity Policy Framework, which was crafted in 2015 to make sure that the digital space is safe, that creates trust to transact online. Then when it comes to the infrastructure, there is a broadband policy for rolling out a broadband to municipalities, to schools, to hospitals, police stations, and allowing the disadvantaged communities to have access to digital infrastructure. Perhaps, for the sake of time, I can stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Moyo. That was a very insightful presentation, and we thank you for that. And I think your findings of the presentation talks directly to the research that was done on this subject. Without wasting any time, I see that Mr. Isaac Adeganye is ready for us. I'll request the Secretary to flight his profile, please, so that we can go through it. He's going under the sub-theme 4 on harnessing the potential of the 4AR for Africa's industrial revolution, for Africa's sustainability, and accelerating its adoption, in ensuring South Africa is ready through strategic partnership to make the 4AR work for Africa. He holds a master's in electronic engineering, and has a more than 3 decades career in oil and gas industries, experiences ranging from onshore, offshore operations, exploration, and gas exploration. He has attended several professional admin and management courses. He retired as a product operation manager from Agip Energy Ltd. Currently, Isaac is the CEO of Trio Consults Ltd, a company that involved in gas operations or oil operations, engineering designs and construction, renewable energy development. He's serving as a board member of trustees for Blue April Educational Foundation. He's a fellow of Nigerian Society Engineers, the Nigerian Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, senior member of IEEE. He's a past chair, IEEE Nigeria section. He conducted collaboration between IEEE Foundation and HP to donate 50 computers to the University of Ibadan in 2006. He's a mentor and served as a branch counselor for IEEE student branches. Mr. Isaac Adeganye is a volunteer and currently the chair of IEEE Africa Council, chairman board of fellow, and IEEE chair board of trustees, IEEE Nigeria section. Welcome, sir. Thank you. You can go ahead, sir. Will you be okay? I can see the presentation.
Oh, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
The moderator, good afternoon, distinguished panelists and members, and the ARSO organizations. My name is Isaac Adekanye, and I'm here just to talk a little bit of the activities that we're already engaged in. I served as the chair of the African Council of IEEE, and IEEE, as we know, is a body, is the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers. And it's a place where forward-thinking technology professionals come together. I'm sure every one of us is aware of IEEE in one way or the other. If we have our laptops, if we have our computers, our phones, we know that one way or the other, the IEEE is involved in this. IEEE is a body that has a mission. And the mission, the main purpose of this is for us to foster technology innovations and excellence for the benefits of humanity. As a matter of fact, the IEEE, the slogan is activating technology for humanity. We are here to advance technology for humanity. And IEEE, in the course of time, has been able to find a way of getting closer to the members, especially in Africa. IEEE has looked at the way of reaching across to Africa and getting closer, because IEEE is a body that has about 485,000 members spread all over the world, and we are in about 10 different regions. Africa belongs to what we call the Region 8, which consists of Africa, Europe, and the Middle East. And you all agree with me that a lot of activities are happening technologically in these areas. And IEEE believe that it is good and beneficial for the members in Africa because we are part of humanity, and this is a place where you have the greatest number of young ones coming up to be part of technological development. The vision of IEEE is actually to reach the global community and to build technical professionals everywhere. I'm very happy with the presentation of Dr. Boyo. He has talked so many things about what is happening in South Africa. If we go to other parts of Africa, we see similar things happening. A lot of technology innovations with the African Union, with all the targets, all the agenda and the roadmap. There are a lot of activities. But it is important for Africa to come together and operate with a standard. Standard is an area that is involving everyone. There must be portability, things must be able to happen in the same way. For instance, we are talking about the 4IR. We need to harness the technology. If something is being manufactured in Nigeria, for instance, and you have a similar factory in Ghana or in Kenya or in South Africa, when we have a standard, each of these must be able to produce the same thing that will benefit humanity in the same way. So IEEE, as it is today, has a global reach. We have divided into about 39 technical societies, and each of these ones have we have about 7 technical councils. And each of these councils go deeper into technology in different areas. We have people that are into electronic devices, we have standards organizations, we have standard associations, we have the Power and Energy Society, we have a Communication Society, and each of these societies have different things that they do. They're focusing on a particular area of engineering. In IEEE, you have a lot of people that focus on biomedical engineering because of so many developments that are coming in there. So we have conferences where we share ideas, and we have technical documents that are published every time that people can have access to. Africa is a place where technology is developing. A lot of drive is coming up in Africa for us to belong and make sure that we catch the pace. And we cannot do this without knowledge. So knowledge development, knowledge bearing, knowledge cooperation is part of what IEEE does. And we do this very well. And like I said, the standards is very important. And I'm sure this is where the ARSO and IEEE is forming a very good partnership. Because IEEE nurtures and develops different global technologies. We have seen so many things happening in the different areas of global development, and IEEE is at the forefront of creating standards. We have standards that must be developed. There are a lot of things that we use. The telephones are there. The Internet of Things is there. A lot of development in robotics, a lot of development in 4D designs, and very many areas of engineering. So many things are happening now. And like I said, there must be unity of purpose in all this. We must be able to talk of safety, because 4IR is a thing that involves both the government, it involves the professionals, it involves humanity, because at the end of it is for humans to enjoy these benefits. So what is the protection that we have for the humans? What is the protection that we have for the manufacturers? How is this thing going to benefit even one country to the other? Talking about trades, how are people going to benefit? There are standards that need to be created. So IEEE is involved in a lot of this, because for sustainable development, we must not think of only today. We should look at how Africa is going to benefit from all this. And the standardization in IEEE is doing so much work in this. A lot of innovations are going on where we provide essential platform for which new technologies and processes can be built. There are a lot of innovations that are taking place, and the standards also make sure that they look at the confidentiality of all these things that are happening. All the developments, we must see that we make it work. So in Africa, there are a lot of cooperation that are going on right now. Just like has been mentioned by the Secretariat, the IEEE have a relationship with ARSO, and presently there are a lot of standards that have been developed with some countries. The standard organization like Ghana, I think that have been mentioned earlier, Rwanda, South Africa, Zambia. And I know that there are discussions going on in some other African countries. The aim of all these things is to make sure that there is a standard that is created, that Africa is becoming a village. With the AFCCA, there are a lot of things that are supposed to be happening. And part of what we want to achieve is that anything that is happening in one part of Africa should be similar, duplicated in another part of Africa. And we should think of the human capacity development, we should think of the economy, we should think of the safety, we should think of the governance, we should think of the benefit to humanity. So these are the areas that IEEE is actually working on and collaborating with different bodies. For instance, there is a big collaboration with the South Africa standards, where a lot of things are happening, a lot of discussions are still going on, so that I can benefit. Like the previous presenters have said so many things about what we can do together and what we can do to protect the continent. And these are some of the areas that IEEE is already establishing cooperations and want to get more involved. As a matter of fact, IEEE in 2016 came up with what they call the African Council. And the IEEE African Council is meant to take care of members in Africa, so that members in Africa can develop at par with other people from other parts of the world. Because we are exposed to the same technology, we are exposed to the knowledge. There is knowledge sharing in IEEE, and this knowledge sharing is not supposed to be for individuals, but it's supposed to be something that would benefit Africans. It's supposed to be something that would benefit the people, because IEEE is really advancing these technologies for humanity. At the end of it, technology is meant to benefit people. So IEEE standards is working very well with these different organizations to make sure that at the end of the day, what is happening will be beneficial. The 4R that we are talking about, somebody must create a standard to be followed. Somebody must monitor the standard. Somebody must ensure that all the countries, all the participants are maintaining the same standard, so that whether you are in one part of Africa or the other, or you go to any part of the world, you must be able to operate at the same level. So these are some of the things that IEEE is doing. And when you look at this, addressing global problems through community and consensus. Now, IEEE will not just sit down in US and say, oh, this is what is going to happen in Rwanda. No, there will be participation with the people. We get across everyone. That is why there should be collaboration with all the different countries, so that people can come up and bring out ideas. And IEEE presently is working in so many areas, like telehealth. There are different apps that are being developed from different parts of the world. All these things need to be annexed together, so that there will be a standard. Everything can work for the benefit of humanity. It's not for someone to just say, or for a set of professionals, a set of engineers, a set of scientists in one place to just say this is what will suit them. There must be something that is portable, that can be used in any other part of the world. So IEEE is really working in all these areas, and so these are some of the areas where you can see the standardization performing. Mobility, we know a lot of things are happening in the electronic world now. Electric vehicles in Africa, almost every country is now going towards electric vehicles, because we want zero emission and we want things to be faster. But of course, there are so many facilities that need to be put in place for us to achieve this. So IEEE standard is working and is ready to collaborate with any of the countries. that is interested to partner for us to come up with standards that can be used in all the parts of this continent. If we talk about energy, I know very well in Nigeria, we are talking of renewable energy every time. So many people are going to renewable energy now. There must be standards. There must be standards to be followed. Even now that we are talking about deregulating the power sector, so many things are happening. So the standards must be there. And these standards, like I said, should not be independent, it should not be reserved in one place, but it should be things that are standard across every part of Africa and all over the world, because the world is a global village. So whatever is happening in Europe, in America, is possible to happen in Africa. And when it's happening in Africa, it should not happen only in the North Africa, but it should be able to happen in any part of Africa. Talking about connectivity and telecoms, we know there's a lot of development in this area, rural connectivity, next generation telecom, so many things are happening. So all these areas are places where we have research, different researchers already working on these areas in IEEE and in many other universities all over the world. So IEEE is looking for partnership with other people so that we can do things that will really benefit humanity. Blockchain technology, this is another area that a lot of countries are going to. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of days in Ghana and in Nigeria, there is a conference, IEEE Smart for Africa conference. It's coming up in Accra and also in Babcock in Ogun State, talking about blockchain technology so that we can see how economy can be enhanced. We will see how technology can be used to better the lot of people. We see how technology can be used in this new generation, this fourth IR, so that people will get to know how to do things better, how they can put technology to use for the betterment of humanity. So many things can be done. So these are areas where IEEE is looking, IEEE is partnering, IEEE is really relating with different countries. So with a conference like this, with this type of webinar, I've learned so many things today from the speakers. I've gotten more information about what is happening in Africa. And I know that with our collaboration as IEEE and as Africans, we can always get things better. The future is very bright. The horizon is very wide. But the important thing is that we should work together according to all the agendas of the African Union to make sure that all the set targets are achieved. And we cannot do that without technology. And we cannot achieve that without a standard that is acceptable to all, a standard that can be used, that is portable, a standard that can be everywhere. So this is the essence, and I'm happy for this opportunity to be part of this webinar. And please, if I won't mind, if there's any contribution or suggestion at the end, we can share ideas together. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you for that presentation. Thank you for that understanding of the topic. We really appreciate your presentation. We're moving to the next speaker, which is Alain Daishimiye. He'll be talking.
Since we don't have him at the moment, we can go to the next speaker, as we also try to get him.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. Let me try to get my papers in order. Okay. Miss Lindy Wehupa will be the next speaker. Talking about the entrepreneurship and digitalization and transitioning the made in Africa and SMEs in the digital economy. We'll be talking more or dwell on strategies for the utilization and digital opportunities under the 4R sectors like agribusinesses, healthcare, finance, education, trade, and overcoming challenges. Lindo is a groundbreaking industrialist from South Africa who has made remarkable strides in the manufacturing sector while championing social change. She's best known as the mastermind behind Lindiwe Pets, which stands as Africa's first major sanitary pet production plant, managed entirely by women. This cutting-edge facility, capable of manufacturing 800 pets per minute, showcases her dedication to innovation and empowerment. Through her career, Linda has earned prestigious accolades such as 2022 inaugural BIS Conference Award and the Esteemed Entrepreneur of the Year title in 2023. Her outstanding accomplishment in this beginning field have solidified her reputation as the guiding light for aspiring business owners. Lindiwe Pets transcend being just a brand. They signify a movement reshaping the menstrual economy. As the only Black female entrepreneur at the helm of this crucial sector, Lindiwe serves as a potent symbol of empowerment. Her commitment to producing SABS-compliant, proudly South African sanitary pads has positioned Lindiwe Pet as a prominent player in industry traditionally dominated by men. Her narrative exemplifies the transformative influence of vision, perseverance, and effective leadership. Through her efforts, she's catalyzing significant change, leaving a lasting impact on women throughout the continent and advocating for a fresh wave of female-led industrial advancement. An essential aspect of Lindiwe's mission is taking charge of the menstrual economy, focusing on empowering women's wellness and revolutionizing sanitary health on the worldwide scale. Ms. Nkuna Khupa, the floor is yours. Thank you, ma'am. The floor is yours, ma'am. We can't hear you. Please unmute me.
Good afternoon, colleagues.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Good afternoon.
My apologies. Where I am, internet connection is very unstable. So you'll forgive me. We work a lot in rural areas, supplying sanitary pads to girls in disadvantaged areas. So I'm trying to make do with the little internet connection we've got. But be that as it may be, thank you so much for having me today. Without any waste of time, I'll just greet everybody who's online and just request that we move to the next slide.
Sorry, can I suggest if your internet becomes more unstable, maybe you can shut your video if it becomes more unstable.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let me just do that now so that we avoid being disconnected, because
Yes.
when other speakers were busy at the previously, it would continuously kick me in and out of the meeting.
Thank you. The floor is yours, ma'am.
Thank you. So I think for me, I'll share mostly on the fact that obviously I'm an entrepreneur, and share on my experiences on how obviously 4AR has helped us in the challenges that we're facing, but I'll do my best to also touch on other industries as well. So in terms of the opportunities that comes with 4AR, one of the most important one is that it has increased connectivity and access to global markets. With regard to Lindiwe sanitary pads in this aspect, we found that because in South Africa, we do not have raw material suppliers for sanitary pads, we depend on the outside world. And we found that we were able to, through 4AR, we were able to easily connect with suppliers outside of South Africa. And we've also been able to have access to markets that are outside of South Africa, especially around Africa, other African countries. 4AR has also the opportunities that increased as well, that exist as well, is enhancing data analytics and decision making. Automation and efficiency improvement is one of the other opportunities, and innovation in product and service delivery. Can move to the next slide. The benefits of 4AR is that it lowers the barriers to entry for startups. In our case, just to give a practical example, how this is actually, it actually relates to us, is that a few years ago, actually a few months ago, we were regarded as what you would call a macro business, like extremely small scale. And with the introduction of the new technology that we've acquired in our factory, the machinery and what have you, then we now have increased our capacity, and now we're no longer at small scale. We've now entered the scale, what we call the industrial. We've industrialized. Now we compete with the big companies, your multinationals, in terms of capacity, the production capacity. That is something that we ordinarily not have been able to achieve had we not acquired the kind of technology that we have. So it has in a way lowered the barrier of entry for us to get into that level of scale. The other one would be access to digital tools and platform for marketing and sales. This speaks to what I was talking about when I mentioned that because of the digital tools that we've got access to, now we're able to market ourselves, and we're able to tap into markets that are outside of South Africa and even within South Africa, because we only have one factory that is based in the Gauteng province. But because of those digital platforms of marketing and sales, we're now able to even get clients outside of our province. We are also gives opportunities for collaborations and networking. It speaks to the same point as well of being able to reach out and do business and trade with people outside your locality. And then the next point is improved customer insight through data analysis. This for us as a manufacturing plant, a practical example would have been that when we acquired the big machine that we are also excited about, is that because it's high-tech machine, what happened is that we had to do a lot of trial and error in trying to understand the machine, and we'll do products and then sample it out to women, and then women will then give us feedback. But with the feedback that they will give us, we'll be able to use the same machine to analyze the feedback, get their insight, and now improve on the product. For example, we had a product where we had a situation where when we still commissioned the machine, we were putting a lot of glue in the sanitary pad. And every time the women would put it in the undergarment, they stuck in there. Within a day or two, we were able to actually within a day, the engineers were able to resolve, to analyze and resolve the issue and actually quickly find out where the problem was and just adjust. Had we not been exposed to the kind of technology that we've got through our machine, that process would have taken us long, would have wasted a lot of time in terms of trying to do business, and it would have actually prolonged us launching our products in the market. So those are some of the benefits that we've experienced in terms of using high-tech machinery. We can move to the third slide. Is it the third? When it comes to the strategies that we believe that can be used to utilize, that can be utilized in key sectors, I believe in the likes of agribusiness, e-commerce platforms, and precision farming. That would be one of the strategies that can be implemented there. And in terms of healthcare, telemedicine, health data and health data management. In terms of when it comes to the finance sector, mobile banking and fintech solution. And I remember one of the speakers, the previous speakers was talking about Kenya and how they are very advanced in terms of their fintech solutions. And then when it comes to education, it's e-learning platforms and digital skills training. We need to, when it comes to Lindiwe sanitary pads, because we are very involved in training, we're involved in making sure that we do skills transfer and everything. We found that most of the SMMEs that we bring in to learn from us and to expose them to how to run businesses, one of the most challenges that we have is that they do not have the digital skills. And it's not possible that we'll always be able to accommodate them in the factory. We can have them for a few days, but outside of those few days, then everything has to be done online. So and we've exposed, we're now trying all this to expose them to obviously the use of e-learning platforms so that they can also be able to enhance their businesses and be more profitable. And when it comes to trade, obviously supply chain optimization and online marketplaces, that's very important, especially when now we're talking about globalization. We can't, technology is the only way that we can be able to, enable us to trade with our international counterparts or clients. So in terms of the strategies for digital utilization in key sectors, this is my contribution. We can move to the next one. So the challenges and the challenges that I've identified and the national policies that initiatives that exist within South Africa. In terms of the challenges, limited digital infrastructure and access thereof. So for those of us that have some digital infrastructure, it's actually limited. And there are those that actually don't have access at all. They're still using the primitive way of doing business. That becomes a challenge for entrepreneurs and for us advancing in terms of entrepreneurship and growing the business. And then there's also the challenge of skills gaps and digital literacy. This also attributes to what I was talking about. And it also speaks to what government has actually introduced in South Africa. So there's a lot of programs that government has put in place to make sure that young people are employable and young people are actually able to start their own businesses. In our case, we've taken students, not students, young people, graduates that do not have workplace experience, and we are training them and exposing them to the workspace. But the challenge that we found is that when they've got to report to the funders, which then becomes either the YES program implementer, the YES program directors, or the funders, which is now the multinationals or the big corporates that pays on their behalf. The graduates are not able to use the technology effectively to be able to do the reporting and what have you. And now that speaks to the skills gap and digital illiteracy. So now we are trying to work with these young people to make sure that they're exposed to as much technology as possible, and it's easier for them to now not only work on the platforms that the program wants them to work on, but to go beyond that and be able to use technology to be able to find other now the next point would be I'm being distracted by the comments, but I'm sure we'll deal with it after. Regulatory hurdles and compliance issues. Yes, that one is actually a huge problem. Like I was saying, it speaks to compliance within the programs that government has put in place, and also even for ourselves as manufacturers. We've got to be compliant with ISO, we've got to be compliant with the SABS SANS product testing. Now, the challenge, or maybe the good thing, not necessarily a challenge, but which an advantage for us is that we've got a high-tech machinery, and that has a built-in quality control system. So we are able to check for deficiency in our product. We are even able to check if there's foreign products within our product. We're even able to check if there's liquid within our sanitary pads. And then there's actually no human interaction after we've put in there's no human contact after we've put in the raw material in the machine until the end when the product is fully packaged. And if there's any defect in one of the sanitary pads, it's ejected out of the system, and it's regarded as a reject. But not so many entrepreneurs are fortunate like ourselves to be able to invest in such kind of machinery. So that means that if you don't have, you're not exposed to those kind of high-tech machinery, when it comes to compliance issues, you're not going to be able to comply with a SABS SANS 1043, which is for product testing, because it's very stringent, because they'll check all of those things. Now, those are challenges that other entrepreneurs are facing within our industry. And I want to believe that it's not just our industry, it could also overlap to other industries as well. When it comes to national policy initiatives that exist within South Africa, we know that the South African government is very proactive and very good in trying to support entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship as a whole. So there's a lot of funding opportunities that exist that can enable entrepreneurs to have access to investment in digital infrastructure. But the problem is that being able to qualify for that is actually a challenge for most entrepreneurs. While the funding does exist, there is provision for those for entrepreneurs to tap into that. The process of actually qualifying for that in terms of being able to meet all the requirements that have been put in place is what is a barrier now. So that's one of the challenges that entrepreneurs face, and it speaks to the call for support for SMMEs to actually not to say government should not just put in those funding facilities and out there. They should, it speaks to training as well. Entrepreneurs should be trained. There should also be an awareness campaign to say to entrepreneurs, this is, because so far I feel like what is happening in South Africa is we are, as entrepreneurs, we are being told of where we can get the funding, but we're not being fully trained to say this is how you can access the funding and be fully equipped to make sure that as we apply for this funding, we're able to qualify and therefore benefit from this. So that is my take on what are the challenges that we face as entrepreneurs when it comes to being able to have access to digital infrastructure, and for those of us that have some digital infrastructure to maybe have a bit more, because it speaks to accessing funds to be able to enhance all that we've got. So we can move to the next slide. Are we still here?
Can hear
So
you.
in conclusion, I believe that the fourth industrial revolution provides significant opportunities for Africa's SMMEs across all sectors. By leveraging the digital technology, entrepreneurship can thrive and innovation can be accelerated. However, strategic measures are essential to address challenges like infrastructure and skills gap. Supporting national policies are crucial for fostering digital transformation and enabling growth. So my call to the difference to say, let's support government or different governments in the policies that they have put. The role that we are doing as Lindu sanitary pads is making sure that we help bridge the skills gap and make sure that we share our technology and our infrastructure with the upcoming entrepreneurs. So that is it from me. The next slide should talk about, we can move to the next slide. The next slide then speaks of the different products that we've got. This is just a few of our products. Pearl South African, SABS approved. And these are our contact details for those that might want to reach out after this. Thank you so much, Mr. Program Director.
Thank you. I would like to apologize to our esteemed delegates. We're running out of time. Can I borrow only 10 minutes of your time? In 10 minutes, I think we'll be out of here. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go through the summary of the speakers, and I'm also not going to go through the issues that were raised by speakers in the interest of time. However, I'm only going to ask one question. The first one to you, Miss Nkuna Khupa. You've raised the challenges within your sector. Would you mind maybe to share insight of what challenges and main policy indicatives to address the challenges? How can these challenges be addressed? I know that both you and Dr. Moyo talked about skills gaps and digital literacy. You both talked about the limited infrastructure and access. You want to share more, maybe paragraph on how can these challenges be addressed, Mrs. Nkuna Khupa?
So in our case, thank you so much for that question. In our case, we found that because we brought in a machinery that's one of a kind, you know, latest technology and stuff, we could not find engineers that are able to operate our machine within South Africa. So what we did is to build this, to bridge the skills gap, we brought in the engineers from overseas that made the machines for us. We brought in 2, and then we got our 10 engineers in-house to be trained by these guys. So these guys are going to be actually based here. They'll be based in South Africa for the next 1 year and 6 months to make sure that there's that skills transfer process. So that's what we are doing on our side. But now that comes in with a lot of implications and what have you. So I would say perhaps what governments can do, not just South African government, but what governments can do is that they also look into those kind of costs to be able to subsidize SMMEs and entrepreneurs that are faced with such challenges, because if there could be some sort of subsidy towards that, I'm sure a lot of industries can benefit, because most people then just go to an extent of just saying it's trial and error, and then we lose productivity, we damage the machines that we've got, and it's 3 steps backwards. So that's my.
Okay, thank you for that. Dr. Moyo, you mentioned the job loss threats, and in your talk, you kind of soften the anxiety that most people have with regards to job losses in relations to 4IR. Just one question: how should governments address these job loss threats with regard to 4IR to roll out this potential 4IR technology revolution for South Africa and also for the continent?
Thank you very much. Right. For the context I was talking, referring to South Africa, we have what we call Unemployment Insurance Fund, UIF, which can be used as a contingency measure to train those people who might lose their jobs, or to give some buffer period so that they get to the next job opportunity. There is a lot of training which is going on. So unfortunately, as human beings, there are people who cannot change, who cannot transit. So that's why the government perhaps might just need to support them as they are trying to find an alternative way, which might not be the training itself.
Yeah.
So that's the crux of the focus. So looking at the skills development policy, everyone is catered for.
Okay.
So that there's what we call sector education and training authorities. They can take control of the skills requirements within industry. There are institutions of higher learning which will prepare the people for being absorbed with the right skills in industry. Perhaps I must stop there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, whilst I still have you on the floor, Dr. Moyo, any takeaway?
What I can say is a takeaway is that we need move forward in the 4IR space, we need education, standardization, and innovation.
Yeah.
That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Nadine Umutoni, any takeaway from you, from your side?
Hello, Mr.
Yes,
Moderator.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Okay. Sorry, I was having another call with my chairperson. Can could you please repeat what you just asked me?
No, what I was saying, we're coming to the end of the program.
Sorry?
Okay, I was saying we're coming to the end of the program. Before I hand over to Philip and the to close, I was just asking any takeaway from you.
Yeah, thank you very much, moderator, and I'm so sorry for that. So
No
I
problem.
have a takeaway, and I appreciate all the presentation of my colleagues. The challenges and the opportunities. In most of the cases, we observed that there is a big challenge of lack of skills or limited skills. So we should urge the member states to work together and to mobilize all the actors in the manufacturing industry to bring together their knowledge, their expertise, and to share them with learning institutions, because all this starts from a low level where the population, the students are learning. So we should work together and engage all the manufacturing expertise to work with the learning institutions to have at least good employees for the next market. I think with our partners, with our stakeholders, also we also should also look at joining efforts to bring all the actors together to deliver good products or expertise for the industry of tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Any takeaway from you, Mrs. Kuna Hooper, please? Okay, I think maybe she's got a network problem. Let's come to you, Mr. Isaac Adikanye. Any takeaway from you, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. From all that we have learned this afternoon, I just want to encourage colleagues that the advancement in the world, this 4IR we're talking about, is not to punish anyone, it's not to throw people out of job, but it's actually to benefit humanity. But while we are trying to benefit humanity, we should also look at the safety of the people. We should look at the sustainability of what we are doing, and we should see how it will benefit people immediately and also in the future. Standard is very important. Everything we want to do, we must adhere to the standards. The different standards are available. We have to adhere to them. Both in trade, in commerce, and manufacturing, there are standards that needs to be followed. And when we maintain this standard, you find at the end, the benefit is for humanity. So this is all that I can contribute for now. Standard is very important. Standard is key to whatever we are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My last words, thank you to the panelists. I think we worked well. And I think the information, the presentation that were shared here were valuable and insightful. And thank you for taking time to prepare for this presentation. We really appreciate you. Thank you to the delegates for the patience till we hear this time. And I think we all agree that we learned a lot today. And my last words is that Africa is alive with possibilities, and it's up to us to move Africa forward. Philip, I think I've done my job for the day. Thank you. I'll be sending your invoice, but we'll talk later about sending an invoice for my time. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Zazi. That is welcomed, and no doubt the accounts will deal with it. Thank you so much for that job well done. And I
Thank you, sir.
want to take this opportunity also once more to thank our panelists. We want to take this opportunity to thank the delegates, the participants, for the patience you have. And also when we look at the chat box, which means the interest has been so high, and we want to thank you once more. We have noted the chat box questions, and most of it have been addressed by the presentations or through the presentations. We are going to share the presentations. As you can see, Madam Estangari, the Kenya Bureau of Standards and Kenya, have already turned the clock, and they are welcoming us for the 49th ARSO webinar session on the 23rd of October on the issue of textile and leather industry. If you are keen enough, you saw in the IDA 1, 2, and 3, textile and leather industry is one of the key priority sectors. Even right now at the FCFTA trade priority sectors, it is one of the key areas that are being given priorities. ARSO has got quite a number of technical committees dealing with standards and conformity assessment issues on the same. So on 23rd, we will be again be privileged to be hosted by Madam Estangari, the Managing Director of the Kenya Bureau of Standards, on this topic of promoting trade and of the textile and leather industry in Africa and strategic benefits of having African body measurements. So with that, I want to just say thank you very much. And we also want to extend a lot of thank you to the African Association of Universities for always standing in with us, taking all the time to streamline this. All these recordings are available, and they are always also shared with the delegates. All the 40th sessions recordings are available, and we have been getting requests about different sessions that we also share, because it's part of our mission to create awareness, capacity building, and share and relive the history. So Mr. Zazi, I know people will be requesting these particular recordings once more, and we are glad we'll be sharing. Again, thank you also for the accolades that we have gotten from the participants, and I want to assure you that we are going to reach out, give the certificates, and at the same time also share the presentations and the recordings. With that, South Africa SABS informed me that the Chief Executive Officer had already left for another urgent meeting. So our closing remarks, I think, just ends there. So we want to take this opportunity on behalf of the Secretary General to thank you very much, and we look forward to the 49th ARSO webinar session with the Kenya Bureau of Standards, co-hosted by Madam Estangari, the Managing Director of KEBS. I would wish to request our IT team, Mr. Dan, if because we want to make this webinar memorable, the faces we can put on our videos, the cameras, so that we share also in the memory of this. They normally go together. So in terms of participation, if you can have your cameras on, our Central Secretariat ITC will take the photos for today and then share them also once more. Thank you so much. And we say standardization, standardization, standardization. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yes, that one goes on. I also want to thank this subs team led by Miss Dineo, who are in the organization committee, because we held around about 4 or 5 meetings before we arrived on this day. So thank you for the subs team for the logistics led by Miss Dineo. Thank you.
Thank you also, Mr. Philip. We're done with the screenshot. Thank you.